Every house has a woman like a Pikinini staff. So the network can go right down into the household and into the bedroom where the husband and wife can talk about this sort of thing. When we have husband and wife talking, you won't see the violence in the home. Children will start to learn different behaviors from their parents or from how they conduct themselves. So Provincial Council of Women, we realized that sadly, their capacity is not there. But we want to partner with them. So what we have done is we start to have a capacity building program with them. Firstly, we sensitize them, and we have conducted 3 times leadership and strategic planning training with them. Currently, we are setting up the provincial setup. I don't know about the National Council of Women. They are going to have their meeting, but I see that there is really no support at all from the national level. So that something has to be done. Where is the National Council of Women, how they are going down to the province. But at the province level, that's how we are partnering. And we are setting their organization because if we are to support them through the GBV program, we need to grant them money to carry out their activities right down into the villages. But if they don't have a bank account, they don't have program management, M&E and all of that, we really can partner with an organization who's not there by name but not functional. So,
if I could intervene, as part of our debate last week, we moved 3 motions, and one of the motion was to get the National Council of Women into national budget allocation. So it's now up to us. Now Parliament has passed that motion.
That's
so
great news.
We'll wait for once the National Council of Women is restored. They have they're supposed to have a conference, national conference in last weekend in Kavieng, but it's deferred to this weekend. So once they set up the national executive, then hopefully government will start funding them because that's the resolution or motion of Parliament last week.
Thank you. That's really good news to hear. And hopefully that ripples down to the provinces as well, at the provincial level. But this arrangement we did is not just at the province, but at district, LLG, and ward levels. We have 165 wards in our province. And so we want to reach all the 165 through a network that has that kind of coverage. And Provincial Council of Women has. So what you have done now, it's music to our ears, because we might see some ripple effect down to the Provincial Council of Women. We also have the Oro Provincial Government also built the Provincial Council of Women Resource Center, and I think this also will be launched this year. So there's a lot of effort put into the council because we feel that council as a voice for women has to be strengthened and supported, but also has to be the driver for change, getting women to not only report matters, but be the change themselves too. Because one of the things we realize is that it's not only men who are violent, also women are violent. And there's a reason why. We also established the Oro Organization for Persons with Disability. They're some of the most vulnerable people that are affected by violence, GBV and SAB, but also generalized violence. When it comes to power and control and ownership, we see that they are one of the most, they are. And so for Oro, we now have that organization set. We are going through with them to sensitize them in the GBV space, especially 50 of their leaders in that space. And then we'll be working in setting up their OPD to be a functional organization where we partner with them in rolling out this strategy. We also started working with the private sector under the public-private partnership. So as you can see, we want the private sector to start looking at zero tolerance by workplace policies in their businesses as well as the government, and also put some funding and resourcing to the bucket of funds that we want to raise. So right now in Oro, we don't have many business houses, but Oil Palm, Igator Oil Palm is the biggest employer there, so we've now engaged with them. Since 2024, it's in progress. HQH group of companies, I think you call them Leon Adway here. Yeah, in Oro, it's called HQH. And Papindo group of companies, many more to go. With the PUC and Oro administration, we have conducted engagement with them, but also we'll be running a leadership training with them to sensitize them on GBV and stuff. And so we are currently submitting our submission to PEC for this sort of bucket of money to come out. PSIP, 500,000. DSIP, 500,000 each. We have 3 districts. And we have 10 LLGs where they can contribute 50,000 each. So that's the submission we are putting in April to at the next meeting. They have to endorse the structure and the funding and finalize the MOUs, because they'll be signing MOUs with the partners that we bring on board. When we launch, it's not to look for partners. We launch, it's time to implement. So mobilization is happening at the same time we are going towards writing and completing a strategy. Consultations and sensitization on GBV is continuing with the private sector. You can see the list of names there. We will be giving you the PowerPoint, so you'll have your copy. And all sporting bodies in Oro, they have come together because we want to target the youth. Not only sensitization, but getting them to really talk about it and do something. So all the sporting bodies are part of our consultation. They've agreed to be part of that, so we are stoked, we are happy. And churches, we'll be talking with them, engaging with them, and then also the national governments. We want to talk more with the National GBV Secretariat, DJAC, to see how can we do things differently from the last. You know, you don't just give us a plan and expect us to know what to do from thin air without follow-through, without support, without real technical expertise exchange. What we got was a plan, a beautiful plan with a red cover, 2016 to 2025, without actually the program to sensitize and equip the community development in the provinces to do what they need to do. So this work we've done so far, Governor, it's really from our own effort. We acknowledge the support from the National GBV Secretariat for the initial consultation, but we want more. We want technical expertise. We want people who can help us do our, collect our data properly, to tell us, what programs we can run, conduct it without not knowing what to do. Many of the staff talk about GBV, but they don't know what GBV means. They don't know what SARB means. And so, 2 weeks ago with the sporting bodies, one of the president of the, I think it's Ijivitari, he got up and said, this policy here is only for Mary, written by Mary for the Mary. Emin of Lomi man. And so everything that's happening is only for the we are left out. But because they don't know. So we need this kind of support from the national level. Challenges, I've just mentioned that lack of support in terms of awareness and sensitization training on GBV to decision makers. So they know what decision they're making at PUC, DSIP, and all of that. They need to know what's in front of them. Right now, there is really nothing. Province-wide education program, I think that's an important one. We need to focus on that. To get throughout to the districts needs a lot of mobilizing. We are confident we can do that through this strategy. Lack of education on innovative ways on resource mobilization. The excuse on no funds or lack of funds has been the biggest barrier. But we hope that through this strategy, we'll be able to address that. Thank you, Chairman.
Madam, before you sit, please state your name for the record, because all the proceedings are being recorded.
Thank you. As Ms. Sinapa is my name. I'm the technical advisor to the Oro GBV SARB technical working, the strategy technical working group. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vice.
Thank you, Chairman.
Administrator, you have any more to add, or otherwise we'll move to...
All right. I think for now, we'll just leave it as it is, because we have other colleagues here, so...
Thank you. Otherwise, on behalf of the committee, we Thank you. Plan looks good. I think now it's implementation that's the big challenge.
Thank you, Chair.
Chief Secretary, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, Honorable Member. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the invitation to be part of this very important hearing. And I acknowledge the Chairman, the Vice Chairman, and all the members of the committee, Parliamentary Committee. And before I start, I wish to extend our President's warm greetings to members of the committee, as well as from the autonomous Bougainville government and the people of Bougainville. I think this morning we are privileged and honored to be part of this very important public hearing that is critical in addressing a critical issue that goes to the heart of the fabric of the society, right at the family level. And from Bougainville, we believe that this is so critical, especially when it's happening right in the family unit, right in the heart of, kids, husband and wife, where everyone should be safe and secured, but it's not the case. It is very important that, this committee has been established for us to, start look at critical measures of addressing this issue. So thank you, and I acknowledge committee members. In terms of the presentation, our presentation outline goes as I'll be presenting on the Bougainville Gender Equality, Women Empowerment, and Peace and Security. That is basically the establishment at the top. And the second content will be around the policy initiatives, especially how the ABG is addressing this very important issue on the ground. And thirdly is around the programs and activities as to how us within the government bureaucracy, within the government machinery, are taking steps to address this very serious issue for us. So in terms of establishment, in Bougainville, we have a Bougainville Parliamentary Committee that is similar to yourselves as well, that provides that parliamentary oversight in terms of how we are addressing the issue. And at the same time, we also have a decision of a Bougainville Executive Council, or the executive government on the ground, which establishes a Bougainville Office of Gender Equality. That's for us. And thirdly, there are also, sectorial committees that comes in, which includes the Bougainville Family and Sexual Violence Action Committee, as well as the GBV, SHARP committees, Disability, Inclusive, and Children's Protection committees that comes in to provide that support at the sectorial level to come up to support this. In terms of the policy initiatives that we have on the ground, under the Bougainville Gender and Equality platform, which calls for empowerment and security of women, we have a policy that came in being in 2000 from 2013 to 2017. So that has expired. In 2023, 2 years ago, we were able to review that policy with support from the donor partners, especially from DFED and from UN Women. So we got that reviewed policy to be launched in 2024, last year, and that policy was launched by the Bougainville Executive Council. The policy calls for 13 policy directives, which are centered around gender equality, women's empowerment, and women, peace, and security. There is since the policy was launched, support has been allocated for this year's budget under the Restoration Development Grant. And Restoration Development Grant, as our members can understand, is a grant from the national government that's constitutionally guaranteed to Bougainville to support, the various institutional building and government presence, building the capacity of the ABG. So in terms of the Bougainville gender equality, women empowerment, and peace and security, we have 3 thematic areas, and from this presentation, I'll be presenting those 3 thematic areas just to give a coverage as to, gender and women's empowerment we are addressing on the ground. So the first thematic area is women's empowerment. Women's empowerment, there is a Bougainville Women's Empowerment Policy and Strategic Plan that's more geared towards, how do we empower women as active participants in democracy, in the government machinery, and so forth. So that's one, and we got some data in there. We got 6 women who are members of the Bougainville House of Representatives, and we also have 1 woman in the national parliament, and I think that's part of the process of empowering women. We also have 6 women as head of ABG departmental heads, as well as 14 women who are directors, holding director positions in the Bougainville Public Service, and about 376 women in the Bougainville Public Service. And members of the committee, we have 441 female ward members at the community government level. And 45 of these 441 are chair ladies of the community government. And the community government is a second-tier government below the autonomous Bougainville government. I think in the rest of the country, it's local level government, or provincial and local level government. Because of the autonomous arrangements, in Bougainville, it's called the community government, and that's basically the government below the Bougainville, the autonomous Bougainville government. We also have 56 women village court officials that is providing village court and justice services in terms of dealing with community justice at the village court level. There are also 13 women as land mediators. These are very important. We got women as land mediators. And there is 1 woman district court magistrate and 56 police women within Bougainville. And importantly, I think for us on Bougainville is the Bougainville Women's Federation. Our Women's Federation is the mouthpiece, or is an overarching women's institutions with affiliations from the districts, from the regional level, from the community. So they have got a structure for the women. It's more similar to the National Council of Women, but it's for the women of Bougainville. It's a statutory body established by legislation in the Bougainville House of Parliament, and it gets its support from donors, from the other stakeholders, and from the government and others as well. So that's the first thematic area in terms of women's empowerment. The second thematic area, which is gender equality, we do have a gender equality strategic plan and policy in place that is administered under the Department of Community Development in the autonomous Bougainville government. There is also a survivor support in terms of response to gender-based violence. There is also a paralegal support under the law and justice sector and Department of Community Development, where the sector agencies within the law and justice, they come in, magisterial services, public solicitor, public prosecutor, the police, and others, they all come in there, as well as with the Department of Justice and Attorney General here, coming together to provide that paralegal support, where, you know, victims are supported to and provided that pathway to, you know, to bring their cases to the courts. There is also the reintegration programs, and this involves CSOs, faith-based organizations, as well as community organizations that in the community from maybe a particular group of interest that they, you know, come up with these organizations, and then they provide those support and fund, those intervention programs. So under gender equality for us in Bougainville with the rest of the country, you know, we'll be reporting on the 25 recommendations from the UN Security Council in 2025 as annexed to the PNG country report. So that's part of the gender equality measures. In terms of gender-based violence program in Bougainville, there is currently a lot of programs and activities implemented by various stakeholders in government, civil society, as well as the churches. And all these efforts are enhanced by the development of comprehensive Bougainville family protection legislation. And with the process of drawdown of powers and functions from the national government, there is, you know, engagement between our Department of Community Development and the National Department of Community Development to draw down, you know, a lot of those family protection powers, which we see that there is a lot of there are a lot of players in there in terms of supporting family protection. So with the department here, we are working just to maybe come up with 3 or 4 main legislation that we can protect families and create those pathways for kids and for the women and children as well. So in general, the IBG is committed to addressing gender-based violence and spends, you know, funding on different initiatives for us on the ground. And also, the IBG also supports the Bougainville Women's Federation as the women's peak body for their representation to raise their concerns. So Chairman, Deputy Chairman, and members of the committee, in terms of responding to gender-based violence, we also have interventions, especially with the government and, you know, the CSOs, but also faith-based organizations, especially the Catholic Church that supports us, and community organizations as well. So we have 4 safe houses in Bougainville, and they are run by the Nazareth Sisters, Sisters of Nazareth. We got 2 in North Bougainville, that's in Buka, 1 in Central Bougainville in Arawa, and 1 down in South Bougainville. So those are safe houses, safe havens for, you know, mothers and children who are faced with domestic violence or social-related accusations, you know, and any other violence. They are, you know, safe houses that. And we also have a community one, which is up in the north in Haku. It's a safe house that is run by the community through the leadership down there, up there, that provides that support. Also in Bougainville, we have 3 men's hubs, 2 operated by the Sisters of Nazareth, that is in Arawa and Buka, and also a men's hub operated by the Haku Collective, which is a community-based organization. There are 2 community safety hubs in South Bougainville, 3 family support centers, 1 in Buka, 1 in Arawa, and 1 down in Buin. We have 22 counselors that provide counseling and trauma services to victims and survivors of violence. And there is a mainstream gender equality within the 14 departments of the government on the ground, as well as a referral pathway in place with the Department of Community Development on the ground as the secretariat. So, yeah, in terms of response to gender-based violence, it's an inclusive approach with government, but I guess more of that, the safe houses, the men's hub, community, and the support is taken on board by the communities and by the faith-based organizations, whereas our role in the government is to engage with them and try to, to provide support, especially to those centers, to the safe houses and the men's hub. The third thematic area is women, peace and security. That's more about, the peace and security of women in the communities, in the ward level, in the urban centers, in the towns and cities. There is a, Bougainville Women, Peace and Security Strategic Plan and Policy, which includes the participation of women in conflict resolution and peace-building efforts. And it also captures the promotion of human rights, participation of stakeholders, in programs such as the annual 20 days of activism as part of, bringing women together and, to participate in activism about the issues and concerns that are affecting them in the communities. And in there is also the conflict prevention and resolution, and also things like food security, look long, how you make an alibi mol mama inside long community. Just in terms of, other key supporting indicators for the implementation of gender empowerment and women's empowerment programs, we got very strong engagement with our counterparts in the Department of Community Development, as well as some of the statutory bodies within the national government that we interact, work together, try to bring those attentions here and work and deal with them. There is also a joint work plan and MOU as part of the drawdown of powers with National Government Department of Community Development, working jointly with us in the autonomous region of Bougainville. So just to give us some snapshot of case statistics, for 2024, we had 173 cases of gender-based violence reported by the 3 organizations in North, Central, and South. 72 of those cases were reported to the police. 63 of those cases went before the courts. 45 of those cases where IPOs on good behavior bond was issued by the courts. 16 cases were sentenced for imprisonment in the correctional institution that we have on the ground. That was under the Family Protection Act, as well as 2 court fines under the Family Protection Act. So yeah, enforcement is important for us, but I guess, with the rest of the country, we have, when matters go before the court and the police, we seem to take the other alternative means of settling these issues, problems outside of the criminal justice process, which, then again compromises the systems and processes of enforcement that we have in the country. So in terms of gender-based violence interventions, there's a development of a Bougainville Safe House, Men's Hub, and Community Safety Hub policy and SOPs. It's more around engaging with the stakeholders who are providing these services. That includes CSOs, faith-based organizations, as well as community organizations. I think it's linking them up with the government so that there is integration, there is counseling, there is pathway, there is family support that ensures, there's addressing the issue that we have on hand. There is also work on the, gender equality, empowerment, and peace and security advocacy rollouts. These are being advocated from our department, from the Department of Community Government within the Bougainville administration. And we plan for 4 sub-forums in 2025 in North Bougainville, South Bougainville, and down in the south, but also the atolls community that we have on the ground. There is also the unpacking of the gender-based violence and sub-policy directives and strategies. We are also engaged with the development, the donor partners through a Bougainville donor coordination policy that we are trying to bring all the donors on the ground. I think, unlike the rest of the country, we have, a lot of presence of donors in Bougainville, but in terms of optimizing the resources and repurposing that resources into critical areas of the government and the people is something that we are keen in terms of repurposing and recalibrating that resources from the donors. And also working with our Department of Justice and Attorney General, as well as the magisterial services, we were able to draw down the village court powers and functions, as well as the district court powers and functions. So we've enacted 2 pieces of legislation, that the Bougainville Court Act and the Bougainville Community Court Act, that empowers village court officials and community chiefs and clan leaders actively participating in terms of addressing areas within the gender-based violence. Chairman, Deputy Chairman, and members of the committee, we also have our share of challenges, unlike the rest of the country. And some of the challenges is in terms of manpower capacity to have government, case workers in all districts, just like presentation from West New Britain in terms of having, personals at the community level, but also at the subnational level. I think we have those challenges as well as the challenge of logistics and mobility in timely responding to the safety placement. I think this is one big one where, as much as we want to, respond immediately and try to get, the stakeholders and the key players to come on board to provide that support, I think it's, logistics and mobility restricts and gives us a challenge as well as, insufficient resources and availability of funding to implement programs. I think is a common challenge that we have. And also the reintegration programs are also critical. And we really want to create some central database in terms of how we can build up capacity and the interventions, especially with the players that we have on the ground. Otherwise we are grateful for the opportunity to come and do our presentation and make our presentation to the committee, especially to tell our national members, committee members, and the rest of the country what we are doing. I think most of the issues that we say here are similar. The issues and constraints we have are similar, but it's more about empowering provincial governments and governments at the subnational level, so that they can take ownership. They can take ownership and be proactive in attending to these issues. I think to me that's critical. We got a lot of powers and that are centralized here in Waigani. And our people are down in the districts, in the wards, in the villages. And I guess concentration of powers in Waigani is not really going to support the number of issues that we will address in the communities, at the ward level, in the villages. So I think to me that's important, and this committee is very important in terms of how we can reshape the institutional governance and arrangements of this country for us to tackle these issues and problems through the leadership that we have in the subnational level. Because as we see on Bougainville, these are governments. They want to take ownership. They want to deal with this issue. But if the power of function is vested in Waigani or in Konedobu, the response is not going to be timely. It will not be immediate funding of it. So yeah, members of the committee, chairman, deputy chairman, we are grateful for this opportunity to come and share some of these experiences in the space of gender-based violence and women's empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Secretary. It's a very impressive and comprehensive presentation, especially making advance in the area of gender equality, which is the ultimate goal of our committee, and of course it's a national goal. So you're all making progress there, and then lifting in the area of addressing gender-based violence generally is a major impediment. So you all are setting the trend, I think, in terms of subnational level, especially with the autonomous government. It has enabled you all to make this progress. So that's ultimately a sort of a bigger picture that we all have to take into consideration. And in terms of the final comments that you make, centralizing power in Waigani will not enable the province and the district to lift. And that's like, for me and my deputy in our capacity also as governors, we have been pushing this agenda that more powers must be given to the subnational at the provinces. And if we have clear demarcation of powers, national government, you just help us with capacity building, help the provinces with having oversight, monitoring, evaluation, audit too, and so on, and let the provinces have the powers to implement all the national policies. Then maybe we can reshape the country in the next 50 years, and that's like putting on my cap and my deputy too as governors. But very good presentation. Otherwise, I think you all have recognized the seriousness and gravity of the challenge we have. Given your experience to since 1988 to 2002, level of violence was very high, and you all have taken ownership and wants to, make peace a foundation for the future. I think, as I commented earlier, Bougainville has chosen peace by peaceful means. And in the National Parliament, we have made a commitment that whatever happens in Bougainville in future, we will not resort to any form of violence, especially state violence. It will not be utility, at least in this Parliament. We have made that commitment. So, very good, Chief Secretary. Your team is doing well, and we are here to work with you all, especially our Secretariat, the National Secretariat. Hopefully, we'll build the capacity of the National Secretariat, support with funding so it can, come to the provinces, Oro and Bougainville with your presentation. Very impressive, work you all putting together. So it gives us a lot of hope in our committee that we are eventually, slowly, but for sure we're getting there. Deputy Chairman, you want to make some comment, or otherwise we'll move to our PA from Milimbe.
Just a quick one. Obviously, Bougainville has successes which will be very useful to the other provinces, and I can see, some of our provincial administrators nodding their heads. I was very, I guess, interested in some of your statistics there, and I think Bougainville has the lowest rate of crime in the country. I think that's one thing that is not showing in any of our documents, and obviously your GBV cases are also quite low. And I noted that you have 556 police officers, which is a very big number.
Sorry, Deputy, not 500. It's about 56 police women.
But your total police officers are 556. Is that correct? That's what
No, that's not right.
How many do you have?
It's. I think the number has been coming down from around 320 to 280, and now it's just below, around 220 and below.
Okay, so you have about 220. So that number there is not correct, huh?
Yes.
In your report, so 220. I just wanted to verify that. And then you've got that structure, which is quite, with all of your different government levels. Huh? So you've got a very significant lower level government. I note with some of the statistics that you had up there in terms of, what are you calling them, community governments?
Yes.
So that was quite interesting, and some of the, I guess, the responsibilities that you've pushed down for those community governments to deal with. So I was just thinking out loud. As you know, I'm a very big, probably the strongest advocate in government or in PNG for more powers to all provinces. And I am very keen on what Bougainville does, because I think you people are pioneering something that would be in my, and it's developing. Whatever you're doing is developing. So you guys are like the guinea pig. You're advancing way ahead, and obviously, you're exploring new things. Some things will work, some things won't work. That's just the nature of doing new things. But for me personally, and I've got one of my deputy administrators and sitting here, and they know my views, and I've been trying to push them to go on the road that Bougainville is going. And I think not so much independence, but in terms of the functions and the responsibilities that you are taking on, which for me is quite interesting. And I think somewhere along the line, and I don't know whether Bougainville will do it or someone in UPNG or NRI is going to do it, but I think we need a comparative study based on what you're doing, your successes compared with what the rest of the provinces are doing, and how that knowledge that you are gaining can be shared. Because I find it very useful in that some of your statistics, which we don't really talk about, is quite interesting, because I think there's a level of success there that we are not paying attention to. So it would be nice, whilst your people have voted for independence and all of that, and I personally respect that. I just wanted to sort of express my view that I think what you're learning and what you're doing has value for the rest of us. Perhaps at some point there could be like exchanges of people coming to Bougainville to sort of, maybe I'd be happy to send some of my administration people to Bougainville to sort of spend some time with all of you to try and figure out what we can sort of adopt. And I'm sure some of the other provinces might also be interested, because at the end of the day, we're responsible for what happens there. But as you just stated there, a lot of the functions are still in Mosby. The responsibility is in Mosby, while the problem is occurring in the provinces. So just to sort of indicate to you that I'd be keen if there's a study, I'd like to look at it, and essentially a comparative study. And I think for some of our academics that might be tuning into this session, if there's an interest there, perhaps we can figure out a way to fund it, because I think the model is useful, and the learning could go a long way, because we don't want to go and reinvent the wheel. If there's something that Bougainville is already doing that we can all pick up without wasting time and energy and everything else to get there, then we might all get there a little bit faster. And then, of course, all of these issues that we're dealing with, from GBV to a lot of the other development challenges that we all share, maybe we'll make some progress. So I just wanted to make that comment and to thank you for that presentation.
All right, thank you, Chief Secretary. We'll move to Mr. Gary, our PA from Milimbe. Sorry, Mr. Gary, our PA. Before we continue, I just want to put a timeline on all of us. It's now 26 to 1, so I want to propose that we will adjourn for lunch at 1:30. All right, Mr. Gary, thank you.
Thank you, through Chairman. We'd like to acknowledge Deputy committee members. I think more importantly, I wish to sincerely appreciate the fact that my good leader, Honorable Morris, has committed to be a part of this committee, and I'm giving clear indications we as a province has a responsibility to lead. And the fact that this is an alarming issue that we need to address, hopefully Milimbe can assist to learn as much from my colleague, provincial administrators, making some level statistics progressively reducing over the years. If I can ask my good two hardworking colleagues to stand up so I can introduce them. Mr. Alfred Kidalon. I'm Principal Advisor for Community Development. Duncan Maila, who leads the Secretariat support from within my Milimbe province. So my name is Igo, and this is my first term of being Provincial Administrator, also my second term into being the PA for Milimbe province. So me like also acknowledge him. Government law give me the opportunity to lead. I not only speak in my capacity as the PA, but me too, me got triple Pygmy Mary. They're age 14, 16, and 18. Tupla stubborn them, the older ones stop on the Mablo Lomospi, and I'm with the youngest one in Alotau with the grandparents. So every time we stop low, workless, Mr. Taking to block beginning girl want the mablo. And whenever I'm here, I'm always mindful what's happening to my youngest daughter, or Bubu Blow. And the seriousness of this is the fact that my wife and the two older kids always drive past that gated community where Chairman you've been studying Loema. So every time I also feel that it could happen to anybody, even my own kids in stage 1. So I hold this campaign so close that I'm hoping that Lilig contribution can make him at the provincial level, and to learn as much to see that all Mama blaming all Pygmy wherever they may be walked freely around Papua New Guinea without looking over their shoulders every now and again. So that's the context within. Our reporting would be from 2021 to 2024. And the vision Miplakat within our existing strategy blower GBV 2021-2025 is to have Milimbe as a safe, peaceful and just province. The mission of MIPLA law achievement is to protect all women, children, men, all the vulnerable and disadvantaged people from all forms of gender-based violence. So I wanted to bring bit of the statistics that we have from within the province, just to put into context that this is a real issue, just like Narapla colleague PH, Blami Blagadlo, 110. We, Milimbe, also had our fair share of issues. More recently, I think Yupla Mas Aremosem, the law and order situation in Milimbe was so horrible that everybody deserted the province and Alotau town. So gender-based violence is no exception. So these figures that we have, unfortunately, figures blow, district blow, leader blow me honorable Morris, and it's unfortunate that I'm not able to share those comparative stats on Narapla, because in my view, 60–70% of all the housing line all start island. So it is my view at some stage that we will have a coordinated effort to see if we can compile a more reliable set of statistics so that the community can give legal advice on how best we can guide GBV in Milimbe. Some interesting perspectives from the stats from 2021 to 2024. I want to highlight particularly the biggest achievement I see from 2021 to 2024 is that the cases people are reporting reduced almost by more than half, from 180 to from 82 or 180s around that to the 80s. So we've made some good progress in the reported cases, but it's a positive indication that I think my teams are also doing their best, and all partners, we're not being bombarded at the headquarters level, but I think all partners supporting province, we are more or less sharing that load. But the more alarming statistic is the consistency of this Laukata heavy is more or less there. So it's not changing, I should say. So based on the proposed recommendations, people have been there were 3 recommendations that guided us to provide to the committee as to how best we have responded to the GBV issue. So the first recommendation was for the PEC to officially endorse and launch a provincial strategy to prevent and respond to GBV. And Narapla number 2, to ensure that the PEC has approved funding for the implementation of the strategy and all Narapla related actions, and finally to formulate a provincial strategy. So based on these proposed recommendations, we have made some significant progress in achieving a few of the milestones. So I'll just broadly go through them. First one being the existing GBV strategy, 2021-2025, was developed and is aligned to the national GBV strategy. PEC approved and officially launched with the annual funding support of 135,000 from provincial internal revenue to support programs, and also to support my secretariat coordinator, Mr. Mailau. We also had 4 annual FSVAC meetings conducted to strengthen referral pathways between 12 stakeholders from various organizations such as the police, health, and the law and justice sector organizations. We're also very grateful for the support from our PSIP, Honorable Governor, as well as our open members who are consistently committing to this cause. Wampla District, Wampla LLG have been FSVAC established. That's Sala, na Samaramurua Buona Buona. And we have the 3 annual GBV awareness advocacy conducted, over a 21 days activation program, tupla annual training workshops, in-house and external training conducted. That includes counseling and CDO, GBV upskilling training. We also had a GBV directory established and shared with the one-talk counseling services. GBV case management data system currently being developed with the support of our JICA volunteer team in the province, and expected to be completed by the end of the year, so we're able to have some consistency in our data. And we have a draft MOU developed to establish a framework of cooperation between an agreement between FSVAC stakeholders from maximum GBV service delivery and data sharing information. We also have the draft provincial government JC policy developed, currently presented to DPM JC desk for vetting, and we're hoping this committee can also push for DPM to help us vet this and to give us directions on the next actions. Total number of cases who have accessed the GBV sectorate between 2021 and 2024, 477. My colleague secretary advisor can probably validate some of these stats. And employment contracts of senior management terminated. This is one of decision relating to Chairman, your views around prevention. So last year, MIPLA making 1+ serious decision to terminate one of our senior managers who had issues related to GBV. So the messaging to all my senior management as well as my district administration is clear. This is not something that should be taken lightly. But we have a fair share of challenges and big main issues as shared by our other colleague provincial administrators. We feel that there should be a lot more commitment at the CEO level or the department head level, and we're hoping that our leaders can also complement the commitment that we have administratively. So MIPLA work one time. It's a common issue again that funding for us, Milimbe having to be the biggest maritime province, plenty of land stop outside. And it's no one size fits all. MIPLA plenty of fuel now, one of my price go on top now. Getting around to having the most reliable service to our island communities and big heavy threat. So our context is a little bit unique from obviously may share with Manusna, East Britain, our maritime provinces, but Milimbe specifically, MIPLA like same time. So the existing facilities, MIPLA safe house owned by the provincial, Milimbe provincial PCW. It's a KEDU safe house. And we also have one officer at the provincial secretariat, which is not in accordance with provincial secretariat structure and SOP. I feel there is a real need that besides having funding support now, some of the programs is a serious need for us to maybe seek some support from partners and maybe credible people to conduct organizational capacity assessments, so specifically can maybe mobilize him, maybe sampling a few provinces where we are clear on what the capacity issues and the gaps are, so the committee can maybe take on. One of the biggest challenges, as we picked up from our colleagues yesterday from health, and, the law and justice access systems, is there is a lot of inconsistency, and I also picked it up during our recent workshop that our secretary ran in the province. All housing all got different numbers, all police got different numbers, so we confused your secretariat. So that consistency is really necessary for us to have some credible and reliable data in making policy decisions to see GBV progresses. and very limited feedback data referrals are done. However, MIPLA Filimosem, there are recommendations that we want to also share with the committee. We're all aware Milimbe province is, I think, the best destination for PNG, tourism-wise. Chairman, you've been there more often, so me like him on that context that a strategic approach for GBV must be integrated into this tourism plan moving forward. So we put this in the forefront. So partners and the cruise ships coming in, all by looking at them, we have respect for the basics, not just developing cruise ship programs, snorkeling, all the others, but it is my view that having Milimbe's potential as the perfect tourism destination, the GBV should also have to have been integrated into this plan for Milimbe taking our tourism forward. I think this is related to having the issues discussed around prevention. Me Pilimosem, the provincial administrators and the department heads should be closely tied. Our key results areas should be tied into making sure that MIPLA progression and GBV. So it should be spelled out. Obviously, we signed with our governors to make sure specific key results areas. So this progress, I'm taking lead, but me Pilimosem, we should be held to account so that our line managers and our district administrators, Pilimosem, if I am not doing the right thing, then I will have to be, disciplined in the same way. Or Narpla private sector leading. So one other proposed option, Chairman, me thinking the fact that this inconsistency in law data and advice we plug him, it is only fair that our PHA's chief executive officers and the PPC must be also given this opportunity of Pilimosem. They are also as responsible. So when I said it is, and my good plus suppose my good PPC and my good CEO should also be a part of this inquiry. Lily suggested me make him learn, and that's consistent with the 3-strike policy. We start with the CEO, and that should also be the same for our other officers within the province. One other recommendation, I'm sure is consistent with our other colleague PAs, is the need for a counter support from our PSIPs and DSIPs. Let me acknowledge him that that's gradually taking place, and also credit to Honourable Member Morris is also committed to this. But I think Simon Mipla present him all figures in the earlier ELO assembly. If by good plus suppose assembly can give some directive so that we can share our figures openly, so that we are clear on what I am picking up and what our CEOs law district level can support them. We need, specifically for safe houses, we are working towards having 5 more safe houses, maybe one all district, and this funding support by Kamlema, some of which is to go towards sea ambulance training, community health workers, communications infrastructure, also culturally appropriate reporting, justice, complementing with them law enforcement, economic and livelihood support for survivors, and engaging men on a wider scale with the chieftaincy systems and all churches too. And alcohol and drug still remains a big issue in the province, like many others. Our recommendation consistent with the challenge regime, and if DPM can help in Miplalo try and finalizing this coordinator positions, guest officer funded under the national funding. Also to enforce and strengthen data collection, particularly not just the states I presented earlier on, but on arrests or prosecutions. That data should be really at the forefront of what we are fighting for. So we give him some indication that these are not just the percentages, but what are we really doing about this law state. So arrest and prosecution, in my view, should be in the forefront when we, it's also my view that a lot of partners maybe spend a lot more time in Waigani. And by good plus suppose you can also encourage them all to have more visibility in the districts. UNICEF, UNDP come and, wherever they have good practices, people need them that as much as possible. So not just to build capacity at the central agency level, but come na, we can Kisimigolo Island, you see the real issues, and then it'll tie into the statistics at the national level. I think finally, Chairman, you alluded earlier on, a few weeks back, we discussed this structure of law education. I think the people all beginning they pick up from the kids. So the early childhood education should really be a key component of rolling out GBV at the district or provincial level. Or beginning looking people fight the ages from 4 to 7, as we all know. And all the vulnerable years will register in this level heavy. So I'm saying Milimbe not for now, as they say, you cannot teach new tricks to an older, but suppose we can focus on the next 20, 30 years in strategically trying resourcing early childhood education to understand, give them more awareness, all picking that passing respect, look out more late on those in those early ages, it's also as important. So that is my final view on how Miaskim committee can consider him. But once again, thank you so much for this privilege and opportunity to be amongst my colleague provincial administrators and our support agencies. Thank you too much.
Thank you, Milimbe and your team. We are very happy that you all have a strategy already, 2016 to 2020, and then you have upgraded it 2021 to 2025. Now you're in the process of revising your strategy, so very good in that respect. We take note of your recommendation. I think the idea that all your PAs should have in your KRAs or KPI walk the talk, delivering the strategy as part of your outcomes is a good recommendation. Recommendation two about the PSIP and DSIP, we take note of it. Very important recommendation too, so that the PSIP, DSIP is properly guided and not spent to the whims of ourselves, governors and open members. The structure two recommendation, we take note of this, and also on the data, and finally your recommendation on early childhood education. The recommendation on the partners coming to your province, I think that's something we all have interaction with the partners. I think the partners would love to come, but now that you all are getting all the strategies in place, it's more reason why partners will come to the provinces. I think I just want to take note generally before we move on to Eastern Britain is that part of the DPM's goal that the Minister Sengi has presented a report to Parliament, I think earlier, maybe perhaps last year, is to get as many staff as possible from the district, provincial headquarters down to the district. And this probably prefaces our going to our PA from Eastern Britain. On record, Eastern Britain is more successful than all the other provinces. I think without any disrespect, but at least in terms of getting staff from the provincial government to the district is a Simbu province. For one reason or another, they still are stuck at Kunyawa. They're not going down to Gembok or going to Kerawagi or going down to Suave or something's happening there. So other departments of state, they are doing their part, ministries doing their part to support you all to get systems into the districts and LLGs and districts so we can continue to serve our people as best as we can. But otherwise, Deputy, you got any comments, or I'll move on to Eastern Britain?
No comments.
All right, thank you, PA Melimbe and your support staff at the back. We take note of otherwise overall presentation, and it all will be recorded. Let's move to PA Eastern Britain. Mr. Levi Mano.
Thank you, Chairman, and I join the rest of the participants here to acknowledge the work that you have done and putting this agenda on GBV into the way we are trying to discuss, basically because of what is happening in our country. So we acknowledge the effort that Chairman, yourself, and Deputy Chair, and the rest of the members, parliamentary members, in summoning us to come and just share with you what we are doing in this space of GBV. I cannot really emphasize more on what the importance of the timely effort that we are putting together as a country on this matter. I think we have seen unprecedented increase in violence everywhere in our country, and I think it's timely that we just have to come together, regroup, and put all the efforts together, and I think you are doing it well, so that's why we have to come here and present to you what we are doing in this New Britain. I've got the district administrator, Gazelle, at the back with my team. Unfortunately, my GBV team are still on the ground in Kokopo. There's at the moment there is also a child nutrition and social protection team from headquarters, ComDev, and all the stakeholders, UNDP, European Union, and the World Bank. They're all in Kokopo at the moment. So my team, GBV team, are actually with them at the moment. And I guess their visit to New Britain is basically part of the same space we are in. So we just imply split na mi come na all this stuff long tableau. I will not take long. I think my presentation will be just restricted to what probably we have been asked to do as per the correspondence that we received, and it's basically on the recommendation to PEC and also the funding aspect of our efforts on the ground, and also the strategies that we are putting together as part of the review of the last strategy and going forward. History in New Britain on gender-based violence has always been there, and it's been part of major reporting in the recent past. And that's why we as a provincial government, even before GBV came, we had through the national policy on FSVAC, we had some programs there, and we went into PEC, got a recommendation for members and also funding and the strategy under SVAC, addressing gender-based violence until 2020, when there is a specific strategy on GBV problem in the country, where it's now not only sexual violence, but a lot of other violence that related to gender-based. So I think that's probably after the Gateway meeting. That's basically what we have now on the ground. Okay, maybe based on the as a PowerPoint presentation, it will be very, very quick. That's part of the effort since 2010, 2009, around that area. And from there, we had a lot of support from stakeholders, from UNDP and World Bank on this through the Community Development Department. and that's basically where we are. We were into the first phase of GBV at that time, and of course we went into phase 2 as per those strategies that are there. And probably what I'm going to present to you is a little bit of a review on that phase 2, and also some like kalapigol honorable level now long try long addressing all this or something. But as per the alignment of the GBV program policy, the strategy into our own provincial response strategy. Yeah, in the strategy, there's those four objectives, Mr. Abu, and that they are very, very specific. The first one is, of course, to ensure that by 2026, the province must have a functional governance and institutions. So let me just say that we already have on the ground a PC-approved committee on that, working on everything with funding. So that's basically. Number 2 is establish and maintain an effective integrated information system. I think my colleagues already highlighted some aspects because we are actually responding to the same objective. And number 3 is the GBV and socially related problems, and the survivors of those problems must have access to quality services. So I think that's basically those objectives that we are working towards. The last one is to ensure quality initiatives. What are those initiatives? Based on the policy that we have, the initiatives that are peculiar or maybe relate to the situation on the ground, the type of people we are dealing with, and the kind of leadership on the ground, and the kind of resource base that we have. So I think that's basically what the strategy is all about at the moment. Before we start talking about aligning ourselves, we as a province, we've got our own specific issue also, and that also built the foundation and the base upon which we should start programming, and I think it starts with those visions and the mission. Part of it is an abstract of the national vision, and also, but particularly addressing some of the specific issues that are common in East New Britain, and also maybe across the bay to New Ireland and West New Britain, and so forth, all the way to Manus and also Arob. So that's basically where we are. So that's basically the missions. But the objective and the outcome, what we have done as part of the objective number 1 is New Britain has actually established a functioning GBV committee approved by PC and funded. We have specific meeting dates once every quarter, and that's basically where we are at the moment. Our structure is also tried to go right down to the districts and the LLG and the ward. So I think we have responded through the structure. Actually, 80% of the staff of the entire administration is actually in the districts and the LLG. There's only a pocket of us at the headquarters trying to do the coordination from there, but work and by must have long place yet. And I think that's what we have done to remove the entire staff strength into the districts and the LLG. We have actually got ward officers. At the moment, they are based at the LLG, but they visit those wards, and they are specifically required to visit the pastor and the catechist and everybody else, even in the TRU or those fishing groups and everywhere else. Those people must not be seen in Kokopo. They have to live in a district and visit the LLGs and the villages. So I think that's into the districts. As part of that response in governance and institutional rearrangement, we also have a position in GESI, and as a requirement by DPM, we already recruited, and is based at the HR division, looking after GESI program. We also have church program. We have signed up some service level agreements with a lot of churches, all denominations, so that they go into their villages, but specifically to also talk about GBV. Also, and I think that's what we are doing at the moment. We are targeting, according to their own respective district plans and LLG priorities. It depends on where they are coming from. And so Rabaul Town, the LLG in Rabaul Town have got its own programs, and therefore the the funding arrangement depends on what the program is there for. PSIP na DSIP and by coming long alibim tasol district long partner one time some finance long financing more projects, but districts na LLG only mas hanap, only mas puti mani ko andam na tokol sem ipla lo iya yol sem ipla lo kokopo yol sem. So ipla now by seeking assistance from PSIP na PSIP to tibe mi go long get a projects long districts. After all, PSIP projects are located in a district or an LLG, and so there's every reason why the governor and the open member must talk. And they're already talking. We've got a team of them at the moment, and I think we are partnering with everybody across the board. So I think that's the church. We also have the FSVU at the police. We also engaging with the schools, with the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce have got a specific program on gender-based, and they are part of the committee. So our committee is made up of everybody across the board. Even 1 or 2 areas, there is a chief there that it doesn't have a position, but status belong in the community, and we go on top, which we can use. And to me place a pulime come na talk. You must go na story one them all man lo place. So I think so we are not restricting the GBB committee and the FSVAC. We are also inviting a lot of other people to be with us. So that's the community. The schools members, we actually integrate the in-service program into the teachers so that we teach them how to handle certain situations in their own locality also. And I think you may have realized that why I'm saying this is because we were known for sexual violence. And I really do not know whether we are the most breakers of those cultural rules, or maybe we just had a process of reporting. We in this Bulletin, we are tired of all money, bagarapimol, legal pekinini, and pinise. So that's why we are going right into the community to make sure that it starts in the school, early childhood. We have actually made early childhood to be a priority now. And we are going into accelerated Christian learning into the smallest. We have actually gone into the schools to in-service our teachers so that they deliver to those, this kind of program. You go along all Pikinini below law school. We are very tough on teachers now. There are a few teachers that we have put on notice. If they don't comply, we need to terminate them. Of course, not the administration, but the Teaching Service Commission, so that all of us, once we release our children, our daughters into schools, the teachers becomes their father. And we have seen also those problems in our schools today. When we have grade 11 and grade 12 in our former secondary schools like before, you have big girls there. And so they become vulnerable to those people who think that they can abuse them. So I think that's basically the outcome number 1. Number 2 is the effective GBV data. We've got a database, not yet computerized, and you cannot access it online, but we still have got manual. We are still moving all the stuff into the districts and the LLGs, and part of the requirement is for them to establish their databases there, and they filter back into the coordinating point at the headquarters. Like Milan Bay said, there are some inconsistency, and the inconsistency we found out is because some time Mama reporting Papa go to police. Not long long ausik ba record him, but long police narapla data stuff. Although we are part of the same committee, Mama and by talk larim now. And sometimes it's very frustrating. When we have round up perpetrators, only to be told that Mama yet I'm sorry long and now family I will go back to the house. So we have no say on that. That's why maybe later on in the conclusion part of my presentation, we'll try to touch base on that one. I think it's enough. And we don't want to take over the business of the family, but sometimes we need to do it if we have to do it and save our country. So I think that's where we are. our intention in getting effective management is basically to go right down to the village, and our focus now is on family now. For this year, our provincial government feel that during the GRA time, we talked about mega projects to rebuild our province. But maybe we may have members is the family. Family am number one. All got something come up lo family. Then what we are seeing in our community today is a manifestation of what happens in the family. But we cannot blame everybody. I think we have changed over the 50 years. I think we just need to change the way we see each other and the way we perceive development. And I think I concur with the deputy chair. Some one point we must get UPNG or an NRI to just relook at the dynamism of our country, the people, how they change. We really need to do that to understand where we are. So I think that's probably where we need to go. But in terms of jumping on to Objective 3 and the outcome of that particular objective is that we have established 2 Mary houses, one in Bonapope and also one at Nonga. In addition, we have actually completed one-stop shop. Chairman, you referred to one-stop shop in Gesell district. We've got a community development center with, of course, collaboration with the community development department here and our stakeholders from outside, and also one-to-one kina, where we come inside and we finish this infrastructure facility located we are now going into Pomio, and sooner or later we'll include the other 3. Comes 2007, we will have a new binding electorate, and we will have another community development center in those other 3 districts coming through. Police, we keep assisting the police. Their operational costs of assisting them to run our perpetrators has now become maybe I don't want to say it, but maybe a burden of our provincial budget. But we don't have any choice. We have to do it because the perpetrators are our people there and they need to go to court. And therefore, we are forced to help the police also. We also have, after those years of GRA where we talked about mega project, we felt that, as I said earlier on, we left the institution that matters so much. And therefore, this year, we've tried to go back into very, very small micro projects where it touches life of a mother and a father and a child. Even to the extent of going to church and asking the church people, what do you really need at the moment? You need some seedlings, cocoa seedlings, and this is what we are doing in a small micro project. And leave the cocoa 4-lane to national government and stakeholders to deal with it. I think our provincial government is basically trying to redirect the funding back into the family. And that's why we are going very, very strong in signing service level agreements with all the denominations so that they go back into their congregation and try to help. Like you said, Chair, mi platu plantil man go lotu ya. But mi platu still asking, why na something come up here on them. So it's probably something beyond that we really need to understand. We are only responding to what we are seeing with our naked eyes, but I think there is something else that is causing all these problems, and I think we really need to find out what is really happening in our community. So I think that's probably where I can say the last one is is New Britain to ensure that we are prevention of gender-based violence, sorcery, and so forth. The outcome is we are advocating that ologet aman uli masanap now. maskil or talk also, you want them something, you walk in penis. I think this language must stop right now. And I think we in East New Britain, we have decided that we must not look anywhere else, but we need to look within ourselves and see what we think we can do. And we must not dwell on what we cannot do. I think it goes back, and I think there's objective number 4 and outcome number 4 of the strategy of GBV. And I think Chief Secretary and me talk, and I don't want to overemphasize that. Human beings are human beings. You and me go big plaman, and we must buy Mary Blongen, Narausimem, and me go long house Blongen yet. It's a very simple human nature that we need to fully recognize. And all the, sorry, no good time come up politics talk, but I'm hoping that once we come up on them 2024 report, you go along secretariat, GBV secretariat, and by containing this law, so that some people at the professional level should start discussing this. It's becoming very, very clear that time you time one blaman, go one blakona, or pisin small fetus belong in big plapinis, he needs to fly out from the nest. You cannot keep him there. Otherwise, it's going to be frustrating for him and everybody. He's going to create problem. And now I'm Bagarap come up now. For us, our parents were the subsistence farmers. My children, I'm no longer a subsistence farmer. I've got a paid job, and my children, they are different from me. But whether I'm seeing that transition or not is still another thing that you and me will really need to understand. And that's where we are coming in. For us in New Britain, we feel that our little analysis that we have now is that we need to understand that today's world is no longer what we see. It's probably economic pressure. Now economic pressure, that's all. Man emi tingol sa memi gat lik ablong emi stablo look so that emi tuat blong emi can finish na emi kisim kai emi no na bokin bla something wrong. But suppose emi silip na expect him na raplaman lo give him kai suppose money no give him kai emi fight now. This is a very simple analogy, and we cannot even look anywhere else for the solution of this. I think we need to let people go and do their business. And what I said earlier on, we may need to really include that in what our full recommendation so that some professional can ever look at it. We still feel that there must be more decentralization, not everywhere in the country, but those NRI specialists, only look, one kind people where only must go. Na guide Malta sol na bauli working within the national constitution of our country. Once we let go, they will all come back to help us. Papa, I'm looking picking in his stuff. Time and burukim banis go and by no come back. You buy good Mary Blonga na go na you look out him go na Ben and by come look out him you be in time. It's a very simple thing. We need to let go where it's now required to go so that all people only can take control of themselves rather than looking at somebody to give him food every day. Chairman, I think I'm conclusion now, but on behalf of my administration and my government there, we have made decision to establish permanent FSVAC and GBB committee on the ground. I should say thank you to yourself and the effort of the committee. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, PA Eastern Britain. Again, on behalf of the committee, I want to thank you all and your governor and Provincial Assembly, PEC, for making progress on implementing the strategy, especially putting in place the necessary mechanism. It's work in progress, so as we go along, we can start to improve it and then extend it right down to the lowest level possible. We take note of your attempt to go right down to the village level, and again, as I said earlier on, in terms of the migration of employees or of the provincial government down to the lowest level. I think Eastern Britain is noted as being the most advanced in that regard. So it will help our effort to, and your effort to get the messaging and get the structured network into the lowest level to build up and have a overarching strategy in the provinces. So we take note of that. I'll take note of the recommendation to in your comments that you have made. I think apart from everything else, two recommendations on research. Research how change happen in our community, so it guides us. And it's very important for us where we are in transition from where we used to be traditional economy, our own structures, clan and tribe, and now we are disintegrating into something else. I'm not sure what we are transforming into, but we are indeed transforming. So those structures are collapsing, new structures are emerging or not, or whether these new structures are good or not, including the value system. So we need to study that. I know too that you want us to recommend us research into some other areas to what causes. I think I take note of it already. I think also just taking note of what you said too about having, specialists to go into the provinces and go down into the district level. When we were in Mount Dagen during the listening tour, I think up in the highlands, they tried to put some into the district. They have a minimum, in terms of the social workers, try to come up with a minimum standard, like there must be a sport development officer, maybe a gender development officer, youth development officer, and maybe somebody in the health sector or something. So they try to come up with this minimum standard in terms of capacity in the districts. And maybe that's something we all could work towards. And in our earlier discussion with the team from Western Britain, this real dialogue that we should have with DPM. Or otherwise, as we suggested earlier, if some of these powers are, decentralized to you all at the PA, you can work out, what is the need in your respective provinces, and you can have some flexibility. Of course, always in consultation with DPM. I think on the flip side to that, we had some problems with the PHA. Some PHA, they tried to develop their own structure, and then it went beyond their financial capacity. So this is a dynamics that we all should be sensitive to, but I think the important thing is what each province needs is not the same as the other province. So with that, Deputy, you got some comments, or we'll move to...
No.
All right. We have our provincial administrator from Eastern Islands, Mr. Loss, is here. Thank you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman, Deputy Chairman, and esteemed committee members. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present. The time is nearly 1:30. I'll try to make it shorter. Mine is very short. I'm reporting on what we have done so far since 2023 to current. Unfortunately, I don't have any technical officers with me right now. I'm alone due to flight cancellations, offload, and delays. So I'm here, so I'll be presenting on behalf of my team. Thank you. As we all know, the GBV is a major issue affecting all of us and into the fabric of the society, and it's like a pandemic. And also we appreciate what the committee is doing. We appreciate the national strategy that government has developed. And at our states in Eastern Islands, we are trying to address those issues that are affecting us, especially with GBV and SAB. In our province, we have reported about 1,100 plus cases so far. These are reported cases, but going towards the referrals and prosecution, that is a real issue and a problem that we face throughout the country. In my province, it's a big province. We have eight districts and electorates and one open electorate, so it's total of 9 electorates. Population is going towards 1 million. So you can see the issues that we are facing. It's a lot of issues that we are facing. The lead agency, I will go straight. The lead agency in this program is our Community Development Division, working together with EHPA or Health and the police as well. We have completed our strategy, GEWE and sub-strategy. It's being finalized now, edited, but not yet presented to PEC. We are hoping to present to PEC in our next second PEC meeting. But despite that, we have managed to allocate funding for these activities. We have budget allocation for 100,000 in 2024 for GEWE, and also this year we have allocated another 100,000 kina. Funding such programs with regard to women is very, very difficult at our level. From my experience, the male, counterparts will find it very, very, sometimes they don't want to fund. It's very, very, really bad. I took office in 2023 with my new governor, and time has changed, so we had to allocate funding for women. So that's the first time that we allocated funding, 100,000, and this year is another 100,000. We have also funded 50,000 for women's office. Previously, they were not funded. And then people living with disabilities, 50,000 is first of its kind. Youth's office, 50,000, it's also a first, and child protection is at 100,000 now. We are going to increase the funding, definitely. With the 100,000 that was allocated last year, the Community Development Division is able to fund some projects for our Mary Safe houses. With regard to economic projects, it's all legal project, also poultry, all funding. There's 5 safe houses that we have in the province. One is Lusaroka Safe House, that is in Goroka District. We have a Watchtower Prayer House, is also in Goroka District. Number 3, we have Asaro Safe House in Daulo District, and Wari Ata Safe House in Lufa District. And the 5th one is Ukunupi Safe House in Lufa District. We are yet to establish other safe houses in all the 8 districts. Chairman and committee members, these are just a few pictures that I would like to show. The slide is the support that has been given to all Mary Safe House here, all poultry, chicken, all feed, and all this. The other slide shows the GEWE, survivors of GEWE being assisted with food rations at one of the safe houses. Okay, the next slide is showing this year, early this year, this is the first repatriation of one of the IPV cases to Ley. As I've said earlier, PEC has yet to approve our strategy, and also that includes the Gender-Based Violence Action Committee. We don't have it yet, but as soon as the PEC endorses, then we will establish the committee. Chairman, we have currently we have a network with other agencies that are operating in the province. We have Eastern Islands Family Voice. We are working together with our Community Development Division, and FASVU, or the Police Family Sexual Violence Unit, And we have a health sexual violence or clinical center. And we also have a Cafe Urban Settlers Women's Association that we are working together with our Division of Community Development. We have a family PNG with us in the province, currently working with us. And Oxfam, he's also in the province. They're supporting our programs as well. And K International, they're in the province as well, and they assist us in funding activities of sensitization and awareness and education. That's what they are doing. So all these agencies, they are being very, very supportive towards us. Actually, when we don't have the money, or previously we didn't have the money, these are the guys or the agencies that were supporting us all the way. But as soon as we took office, we tend to support. And we know that with their support, we can go a long way and increase the funding and provide the services to our women.
PA, can I intervene? Some of these CSO, they're getting funding directly from your location, or it goes?
Yeah, the CSO, the community-based ones, they get support from us.
Like Eastern Islands Family Voice, they are very active organization. They get funding as well from you?
From other agencies. They are the big ones. But the small ones, safe houses, we do support.
The churches are not included there, and Catholic Church, SDA Church, and Lutheran Church, very active in your province.
Yes, as you can see, I didn't include that one, but actually we have churches, funding to all our churches. Churches Fraternity, we have a good partnership. It's been going on. Every year we allocate 2 million kina. This year we are allocating 2 million kina as well. Chairman, we have Eastern Islands Province was one of the first province that in 2009 and 10 we created our organizational restructure, and we have 80% positions down to the district and LG level, 20% only in the province. But unfortunately, due to our administrative impasses happening, so that's why we haven't filled the positions. Currently, we have completed our structure review. It should be submitting to DPM, especially for review for the new positions. And I'm proud to say that we have created positions for GBV also, Provincial Welfare Officer, Marital Violence and Counseling Officers, Gender Equity and Women Empowerment Coordinator Office, Child Protection, GEWE Officer. We have also created that position. GEWE Officer will be reporting direct to the Provincial Administrator. We have also created similar positions at the district level. It's for community development, it's about 3 to 4 positions. And we have also one community development officer at the LLG level. So all LLGs will have one community development officer. But at the district, it's 3 to 4 positions. Chairman, we have signed a MOU with a family PNG. I signed that one in April last year, 2024. They will be assisting us. We are partnering. We also have a partnership arrangement with UNFPA. They are also assisting us in implementing our programs. And we also have safe houses, as I've mentioned already. We have dialogue with the UN Women National Planning Office. As I mentioned already, Oxfam, K International in the province. So, Chairman, my presentation is very, very short. I'm going to conclude now.
Yes.
To address the issues about gender-based violence, we have introduced and implementing the following strategies, which I've mentioned. I want to conclude. We are collaborating with partners, with both the government and the local and international organizations. We have signed MOU with a family PNG in 2024. We have formulated a GB prevention and response strategy also, and it will be endorsed in the next PEC sitting. Budgetary allocation, as I mentioned, we have allocated funding, and we will be slowly increasing the funding. We have included GBV officers in the Eastern Islands organizational restructure from the provincial headquarters, district, and LLG levels. we have captured GESI position in our organizational structure at the provincial level. And we have also would like to mention is that we have allocated funding last year, 2024, for the female wing at Bundaira CS facility. They don't have any female wing, so we have allocated funding and it will soon be constructed this year. We will be continuing to allocate funding and slowly increase the funding towards GBV and other related activities in the province. Chairman, with this, I say thank you for giving me this opportunity to present on behalf of my province. Thank you.
Thank you, PA Eastern Islands. On behalf of our committee too, Deputy Chairman and myself and the committee members, we want to thank you for your presentation, and more importantly, thank you for already rolling out and recognizing the gravity of the challenge that we have nationally, but in your province, and already taking action well before the strategy is formulated and adopted or endorsed by the PEC and gone to the Provincial Assembly for funding allocation. You've not only started a mechanism already in place in terms of collaboration, signing MOU, bringing partners to come to your province, but already allocating funding. So that's a commendable effort. We have to understand overall, the statistics remain very high. A lot of effort that we have undertaken, but it hasn't made a difference on the statistics. So we need to double our effort. We need to recognize that it's an emergency. We are at a pandemic level, and pandemic or emergency means that we get out of our comfort zone. We respond in an emergency way. So at the national level, we going to make further recommendation to the government to start the restructuring, remove structural impediments, maybe financial impediments, whatever system impediments, so we can better coordinate from the national level down. So I want to encourage you all at the sub-national level, provinces and Arab, to take that cue, re-examine the effort that we have taken up to now, and shift it towards a quick response. So perhaps we are talking about 50 years, but if we can bring it a bit shorter, try to see some changes, 1 year or 2 years. If we can try to see some changes, especially the level of gender-based violence coming down, violence generally as well, whatever violence, coming down, and we are moving towards the vision that you all have adopted, and I'm very pleased on behalf of the committee to note that all the visions embrace, a goal to achieve peace and just society. That's a national goal. It's in our national constitution, and more importantly, in national pledge. And these are words or deeds that we pronounce, but it must, not deeds, but proclamation that we pronounce, but the challenge is to convert it into deeds. So before we adjourn for lunch, we already past lunch time that I've set for us. I just want to give you the rates, the GBV rates that some of you have done data collection, but recently our team involved in reviewing the strategy, did a comprehensive data collection too. The data was based on different age and different sector of our community, some in the rural areas, some in the urban areas, males, females, different age group. Over 5,000 people were sampled as part of this survey. And from this, we try to work out the GBV rate as per province, or in the case of Bougainville Autonomous Region. So just for you all here, in this session. I just want to give you the rate that has been as a result of this survey. Yeah? So Arab 52%. That means 52% of the survey to show an indicative of 52% of your population, especially women and girls, but not restricted to women and girls, because the survey also includes men. They've been subjected to one form or another of gender-based violence. Milne Bay, 64%. Eastern Islands, where's Eastern Islands? Eastern Islands Province, 67%. Oro Province, 45%. East New Britain, East New Britain Province. Where is East New Britain Province? 61%. Just by way of general information too for all of us here, highest percentage, Ella Province, 70%. Interestingly too, our smallest province, Manus Province, 66%. So some places that are relatively considered to be safe has high level of gender-based violence. So like yesterday's opening, or in some other conversation, I was talking about the two districts in Southern Islands, Imbongu and Yalebu Pangia. In the last 40 years plus, there's not been instances of tribal conflict or tribal wars or tribal dispute. Compared to the other parts of our region of the islands, and especially in the context now of the western part of the islands. It's a high level of violence in some parts of our 3 or 4 provinces there, but in the district of Imbongu and Yalebu Pangia, in 45 years, to their credit, no tribal dispute. They have a high level of safety and security. They respect law. If there is some incident, car comes and knocks some people, they hand it over to the police. But in terms of gender-based violence, it's still an issue or challenge in those 2 districts. So at some level, the level of violence is low, but on another level, in terms of gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, and family sexual violence is still high. So the picture generally does not speak about the context of gender-based violence, and this is where it affects the lives of women and girls, 50% of our population. This is why we must double our effort. In the next 50 years or even shorter, we must change the dynamics. Once we change the dynamics, then we have full potential, full abilities of men and women, boys and girls. They will transform our country. They will achieve more than we have done in this first 50 years. That's the, compelling reason why in our committee we are driving this and prosecuting this, so holding everybody to account so the dynamics can change. Up to now we are being complacent. Women and girls in our country think that we don't take them seriously, or we don't consider them seriously. There's some, narrative that is going around. I think in the recent past in Port Moresby, when we had incidents of like Janelle Kennedy case, protests coming out, and young girls in our city have come out publicly to say that maybe it's to be born a woman or to be born a girl or female in Papua New Guinea is a mistake. And that should really touch us. It's not a mistake to be a woman or to be born female in our country, or should not be. But that's how sometimes, and for good reason, why women and girls in our country feel that this is a mistake to be born female in Papua New Guinea. So it should challenge all of us. So I'm just emphasizing this point just to stress home that it's an emergency, and we are being complacent and not responding in the way that it should respond. Yesterday I said we're just taking it like another day in paradise. Well, paradise is not safe. That's the indictment that is we must come to terms with, and it's up to us to change that, make paradise safe. With that, I suspend our session today for lunch. We have a final session in the afternoon, and there's more of your colleagues will come on. So everyone, I think you all here at lunch is on the other side, provided by Parliament. Or our PA from...
Chairman,
yes.
Sorry, before we break, just want to share a little bit of thought, and if the committee can consider, because I may not be around after lunch because we have this Papua Governors Conference, so I'll have to join my governor there. But having gone through this and being in this capacity for quite a while, GBV and SARV are now emerging issues. They are cross-cutting issues, and they cut into all sectors of, governance. Even the economic sector, it cuts into. Now, for us in the provinces, our focus now is to implement the strategies that we are going to be introducing. And how do we sustain these strategies? Now, there's a funding component that UMISA call him function grants or constitutional grants. Now, these grants are tied to, the forestry industry, DAL, technical, also talk works, unit of province, education and health.
Yeah.
Now, some time ago we argued that GBV and SARV and any form of violence and come into community development. Community development is not a recipient of constitutional grant or functional grant. Now, if we are serious about addressing this issue, can the committee consult NEFC and see if community development be a recipient of function grants or constitutional grants? Just law helping me law, moving this agenda go forward. Thank you, Chair. Ting Blomita Sol me sharing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, PA from Oro will incorporate this recommendation into recommendation into our report. Yes. Thank you to all your supporting staff too, and let's break for lunch. We'll resume about the past two. You see the past two? Yeah, past two. Yeah.